Okay, the worst manager in the Premier League is 3-2-1. Keith
Andrews. Yeah.
Agree.
I mean, obviously, because it's a huge pump from Brentford.
I mean, he could prove us all wrong, and if he does, fair play to him. But as things stand, he is the worst manager in the Premier League.
I want him to. I actually want him to prove everyone wrong.
I do not.
And I think as well that Brentford will stay up. A lot of people are saying that they'll go down, but I don't think it's as desperate as that. If you look at their team, despite the players they've lost, and people talk about the fact, they've lost a bit of a spine. They've obviously lost in Bournemouth. They've lost their captain in Norgard. The biggest punt here is Keith Andrews. There are other players in that squad that are good enough, and they've got a better squad than some of the teams in that three that came up.
I massively disagree.
But you can change manager mid-season.
No, but if you think about any team, think about a really good team, think about maybe the best team in the league. If you take out of that team the two most potent goal scorers that they've had in the Premier League era, and then the captain, and then the manager, that would if you took
Wissa's still there, mate.
Well, he's not. He's unlikely to be there when it matters. If you take Wissa out, if Wissa ends up leaving, you're looking at 40 goals out of that team, and Burmo and Wissa. Then Norgard had a great season last year, scored a lot of very valuable goals, was the captain. And then Thomas Frank, he was etched and almost entrenched in the fibre of the club. I really think they'll go down, and I do agree with you that Keith Andrews is the worst in the league. But it's different to you. I don't want him to prove us wrong. Do you know why? Because Ollie and I work together at TalkSport. I love listening to Martin O'Neill. Mm. Martin O'Neill don't like him, and if Martin O'Neill don't like him, I don't like him.
Why does he like him? Was he involved in the Ireland setup at the same time?
No, I think when Martin O'Neill was at Ireland, Keith Andrews was on an Irish TV channel, sports station, and really went for the jugular when O'Neill was in his managerial role with the country.
Yeah. That's not a weird reason for him.
So O'Neill was basically gone, okay, now let's see what you can do.
No, I kind of like it. I actually went to his first press conference, Keith Andrews, and I only get the big ones, obviously. And I did say to him, look, I mean, if you'd been told you were heading into this season as a Premier League manager, what would you have thought? What would you have said? Would you have believed it? And fair play to him. He was like, look, I'm definitely ready. I feel really ready. But then he just went, but to be honest, I'd have been amazed. And even if he can't even believe that he's got this job, that's got to be a bit of a worry early on. But it's a chance for him to prove himself. I think it's a bit unfair sometimes where people would go, oh, they've hired the set piece coach, as if that's the only thing he's ever done. He's had other assistant manager roles, and he actually took the job at Brentford because they wanted him in the setup. They just needed to find a role for him.
It's worrying, isn't it? Thomas Frank basically took everything from Brentford, including the kitchen sink. He went back, he raided, he took all the staff, he did his best to take Burmo, and he didn't take Keith Andrews. The one thing that he didn't take is the one thing they've made manager. I think it's a worry. I think he's undoubtedly, though, the worst manager in the league.
He has to be, because he's completely unproven as a manager. He's never been a manager of any team, and he's taking Brentford into it. I just don't quite think that squad, though, is too bad. They've got a few players coming back from injury as well that they've missed for a long time. The likes of Aaron Hickey and Rico Henry, who are very decent fullbacks. You've still got Collins and Pinnock at the back. You can say what you want about Jordan Henderson, but for a club like Brentford, you feel like he can do a job. He can easily do a similar job to the one that Norgard was doing. They've got Igor Thiago up front, who's been injured for a long time, but you don't really know what to expect from him. You've got Kevin Schade on the left-hand side, who's a very decent player and could be the next cab off the rank. Is it as desperate as everyone's saying it is?
Yes.
I'm not quite sure it is.
Okay, well, we will see. But I also agree that he is currently the worst manager in the Premier League. So they're going into a Premier League season with the worst manager in the league, which doesn't really bode well. Maybe he can prove us wrong. Who have you got at number 19?
I've got Scott Parker at 19.
Slightly more harsh than me.
Who have you got at 19?
I have got Daniel Farke.
Okay. To be fair,
I'm convinced that Scott Parker is a better manager than Daniel Farke.
Why?
I don't think that Daniel Farke is capable of managing in the Premier League.
But you think Scott Parker is?
I think Scott Parker might be.
Why?
I feel like I know for a fact that Daniel Farke is tried and tested at getting teams out of a particular division and almost operates in that purgatory position. That he would be in that.
He is Dwight Gale.
He is Dwight Gale.
If it was a footballer.
Yeah. You know those players, Cameron Jerome. Those players that they're too good for one division and they're not good enough. They can't quite do it. They can't elevate the performances. I think Daniel Farke is that. I think Scott Parker is currently that, but might not be. There is more of an unknown quality about Scott Parker.
Is that simply because last season they had such a good defensive record, Burnley? Is that the only thing you're kind of clinging on to? Because when you look at his actual record when he's been a Premier League manager, it's not great. When you look at the fact that he was sacked by Club Brugge, doesn't look great. I think, he's obviously developing and growing as a manager. I understand your point about Daniel Farke, and actually when you think about it, there was even reports of Leeds potentially getting rid of Daniel Farke, even though he got them promotion. So there's sometimes no smoke without fire. They must have been coming from somewhere, those reports. So I think they're interchangeable, Parker and Farke. But I would just have Farke a bit above Scott Parker, just because I just think Leeds have a better chance than Burnley next season. When you think about the fact that Burnley have lost CJ Egan-Riley, who was big at the back. Trafford, of course, is going to Man City, and that kind of
They've made
defensive...
interesting signings, though, Burnley. They signed Leslie Ugachukwu from us. They
signed Walker.
Walker. Armando Broja. So they're doing some...
He's done well in teams that are going to get relegated, hasn't he?
He had that little purple patch, remember, at Southampton, just before Christmas that year. But look, I think that Scott Parker, he's coming up with what I think... They will probably be relegated. But I feel like they're coming up with an opportunity. They're coming up with a template that could be replicated. They're going to be in games. They're going to be resolute. I think they're the first team to ever have... in no games last season did they ever concede more than one goal. They're the only team to have ever done that. It's impressive. They've built something that is quite impressive. And I think Scott Parker deserves a lot of credit. And I've got him quite a little bit higher, but I've got Daniel Farke at 19 with Leeds United. Okay. I don't think he lasts the season.
Okay, so I've got him at 18.
Okay, so we're similar. Who have you got? So at 18, I've got Regis Bris.
Okay, from Sunderland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've only got him a place above that, but I whisper it as a Newcastle fan. Quite like him.
I like him as well.
Quite good manager.
But at the moment, he's unproven, and therefore he has to. How could we possibly put him above someone who's already survived?
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Exactly.
Whether you think he's better than, I don't know, Vitor Pereira or not, Vitor Pereira has survived in the Premier League already. Regis Bris has not.
But having said that, brilliant job to get Sunderland.
Amazing job.
Brilliant job.
Amazing. Prematurely.
Yeah, got to admit it. Fantastic.
I'd love it to work for him.
And actually, the club have showed a lot of ambition this summer as well. Spent a lot of money.
Mate, I think they survive.
Do you?
Yeah, really.
For sure. We have seen it before. And by the way, some of their signings have been excellent, by the way. And the fact they've got Granit Xhaka, that is a coup.
Potentially one of the... if you did
pound
for pound, yeah.
That is a great signing.
Granit Xhaka has left a team that are in the Champions League to go and be part of this Sunderland project. He has left Champions League football with Erik ten Hag to go and be part of Sunderland for 3 years. He's bought into the project. And that is something that's very impressive. And Regis Bris deserves credit for that, because when he tried to woo Granit Xhaka, the conversation would have been, where are we next year? Where will we be going in 2 years' time? Who are we trying to emulate? What is the ambition here?
I mean, to be honest with you, Raw, and whisper it again, Granit Xhaka's the kind of signing that if Newcastle had made it, I'd have gone, that's a decent signing. Do you know what I mean? And that shows how much of a coup that is for Sunderland.
Do you know what I honestly think? I rate Xhaka really highly. I rate him a lot higher than I think a lot of people. But if Arsenal were going to make a signing such as Norgard,
why not get Xhaka? Yeah. I see what you mean.
Mate, Xhaka was an integral part of that Leverkusen team that went unbeaten, won silver. He's a good player, mate, good player.
By the end of his time with Arsenal as well, he was.
Yeah, they loved him that season.
One of the most important players. Yeah. He was so good. That shows the intent that Sunderland have got. And the only thing is, we have seen it before when some of the promoted sides, even when they spend a lot of money on a lot of players, sometimes it doesn't work out, and it is tough.
Sunderland are going to need somebody, one of the establishment, to have a bad season, bad season. But just above.
But I think that's more likely this season, isn't it?
Yeah, I do.
Because we've just talked about the problems at Brentford. As much as I said I think they'll stay up, they could have a bad season. West Ham could have a bad season. Wolves could have a bad season.
True.
So I think this time around, maybe as well, stylistically. We just talked about Scott Parker. Maybe they've learnt from the last 6 teams to come straight back up
and all
down.
that, yeah.
And this stupid style of play that's never going to work. And actually maybe a couple of managers who are after jobs.
Yeah.
Really.
That dogmatic approach. I mean, if Bris can be pragmatic, and he's already demonstrated an aptitude to get Sunderland out of the league, he's already demonstrated something in terms of his conviction to create a situation where Granit Xhaka wants to sign for Sunderland. So I've got Bris in 18. I've got Scott Parker in 17th.
Okay.
So similar.
Very similar.
I'd really like it. I'd really like it to work.
Do you know what's going to be amazing, by the way? He talks about Granit Xhaka, first time we're Derby. I can literally give you a guarantee bet, though, is yellow card Joel Linton, yellow card Granit Xhaka,
and
if not
scores.
red.
Yeah,
and
Xhaka scores.
Yeah, and Johan Wissa scores a hat-trick.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. In terms of this managerial chat, I think this is going to be the first one that's going to shock anyone.
Okay.
16th is Graham Potter.
That's exactly who I've got.
No
in there.
way.
It's
I thought
exactly who I've got in there.
I thought I was going to have to convince you.
No, I completely agree with you, mate. I do
Graham
completely
Potter,
agree with you in terms of just it's been so poor at West Ham so far. You look back on that time at Chelsea, absolute disaster, and then his
how
time
good
at
was it at Brighton? Really,
not that good.
I know,
not that good. That was a side that De Zerbi then took on and made even better and improved by a long way. And actually, when you chat to Brighton fans, a lot of them say, yeah, Potter was good and he established us in the Premier League and, deserves credit for that. Is he, the manager that everyone says he is in terms of his tactics, etc.? I'm not quite sure.
No, I agree.
And I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about first sackings of the season, surely Graham Potter's name is high on that list. Because so far at West Ham, who have all sorts of problems, by the way. I don't think the recruitment's been great at all.
It's been horrific.
Bringing in Callum Wilson.
It's horrific.
I don't get that.
On a ridiculous deal as well. Like you're gonna feel like you can't use him.
Yeah.
90 grand every time he plays. 6 grand if he doesn't.
Well, luckily for them, he's always injured.
Well, he won't be. It's 90 grand every time he plays now.
Yeah. Maybe he'll work a bit harder in the gym. Yeah, but I can't. For me at the moment, it's not a good fit either. It's not a good fit.
No. Whether or not you rate Graham Potter, and I don't. And I think it's important to acknowledge. I feel like people are so kind to him. In the way that maybe people can be very sneery towards a manager like David Moyes. People can be very harsh towards various managers, and some managers seem to get this pass. They seem to get almost forgiven. People seem to be of the opinion that a manager is a good manager, regardless of what the facts show you. And they don't sway their opinion.
Is it because there was a time where it was just trendy to say that Potter was an up-and-coming manager?
And he is a trendy manager. He is very much a progressive manager. He is, in terms of the appointment, it's a noble appointment. It's a fair appointment. It's a just appointment. You can kind of rationalise. Like, it's seen as being progressive. Appointing Moyes is seen as being regressive. Appointing the Allardyce type model of just a decade later. But I guarantee you this. David Moyes is 10 times the manager that Graham Potter ever will be. Graham Potter is not a Premier League manager. He could potentially do a job at a club like Brighton, at a club like Brentford, where the standards are fairly low and the fans are fairly forgiving. But at West Ham, rightly or wrongly, the standards are through the roof, and I admire them for that. And the fans are possibly the least forgiving fans in the league in terms of what they demand from their team, what they demand from their players. Think about the people they love. They love Bobby Moore, geezer, absolute geezer. They love Di Canio, absolute geezer. Like, Graham Potter is one of the most uninspiring men I've ever met.
And he's already had a couple of kind of, blunders in press conferences. I think there was one where he was praising Spurs ahead of a game against. It's the kind of thing you just think, what are you doing?
Do you remember when he was Chelsea manager and he went with David Brent and he started to try and swear to, like, convince people how much of a lad he was? It was like, mate, do you know, I'm of the opinion with regard to football.
I did that in year 8, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still didn't work.
No, but do you know what? I'm of the opinion. Anybody who's worked in the game, and I genuinely mean this, I'm like starstruck when I meet them. I really do mean that. Like, we're fortunate to call people like Darren Ambrose friends. I think that's amazing, and I love talking to him. Then occasionally, I talked to, like, Jermaine Pennant about football. Like, he's playing the Champions League final, man.
Got man of the match in the Champions League final.
I can't help but just be full of awe. You know, I met Graham Potter once, and I will respect the office of
Where
Chelsea
were you?
manager. I will respect the office of Chelsea manager regardless, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think he was happier to meet me. Like, you know, it was
I don't
just
know
like,
about that, mate.
it was just like, no, yeah, of course he won't. I had no idea who I was. But do you know what I mean? Like, just sort of use that as a loose example to just demonstrate the point. It wasn't inspiring. Like, you know, I met Maurizio Sarri once. I flew with Chelsea on the plane to Budapest. We played in Budapest, Sarri. And I was on the plane with him, and I didn't like Sarri. I didn't rate him as a Chelsea manager. I didn't think that he fit. But I respect the office of Chelsea manager, and the fact that you are the Chelsea manager. Obviously, I'm deferential. Obviously, I'm impressed by you. I was on an airplane. I shook his hand. I was like, this is pretty amazing for me, mate. And I really am honoured to be here, and I'm honoured to meet you. Whether I think you're right for the job is kind of not the point. I didn't get that from Potter at all. I just don't think he's very good. I really
You don't get that aura, do you?
No.
You don't get that sense that this is someone who can command a room.
It's the same aura as a teacher at school, and not a particularly inspiring one.
Yeah, that's the funny thing with Potter is, you know, there's been so much hype around him for kind of so long now, and yes, he went into an absolute basket case at Chelsea. I get that. But was he the personality to say no to the board about some of the decisions they were making? Of course he wasn't. He was kind of there saying, "Oh, I'm happy to get all these." He was
grateful for the opportunity to be in that job.
Yeah, of course, and he should have been. You know, getting the Chelsea job. What an amazing job that was for him to get. This move to West Ham. You know, when it happened, I felt like you said, it was like the noble appointment. It was kind of the next step. If you were going to talk about what should Graham Potter do next, it was kind of like a job like a West Ham.
No, it wasn't.
But I don't mean West Ham particularly. I mean that level of club.
Yeah, that level of club.
I don't mean West Ham particularly.
Club, not that fan base, not that level of expectation.
I think he is that first 10 games of next season are massive for him.
3.
Absolutely, first 3.
3. I'm serious, 3. Because you know what will happen? They've got a really rich tradition, West Ham, and I love things like this. I think the first time it happened might have been like the late 70s, but West Ham fans, they take the corner flag. If someone will invade the pitch, take a corner flag and plant it in the centre circle. And it's happened when they're really unhappy. It's a form of protest. And it's sad because the person who ends up doing that will be banned for life from the stadium and, you know, vilified. But it's a tradition. Someone's going to do that this year.
You think? Within game 3? Game 3?
Some geezer out of Romford is going to have enough of Potter. He's going to launch his season ticket onto the pitch, and he's going to take the corner flag and he's going to plant it in the centre circle. And it's going to be because of Graham Potter and his ineptitude.
It's a long old run to the pitch from there.
Got to get there. I know. You're going to have to bob and weave your way through.
Get a taxi to the side of the pitch, yeah.
In terms of 15th, my one again is going to be quite shocking.
Is it?
I think so. But just before I tell you about that, I need to let everybody know that we've done some analytics on the channel, and I'm so grateful to every one of you for watching this, so thank you so much. But we've done some analytics, and there are 20% of you that watch the entire video, right? So Ollie, there's 20% of our loyal and wonderful subscribers that watch the whole video.
Oh, I love that.
What I want those 20% to know, who clearly happy to watch more, there is a membership to this channel. So we have a membership scheme. You can become one of the 20%ers. And if you are part of that, there will be extra content for you. There'll be extra Q&As. We will be doing a whole lot of stuff for the extra, the people that want the extra content.
I like
so
the
20%ers.
20%ers, I like that.
Yeah, they're the 20%ers. They're
what
20%.
Else call them the Gen Zers?
The Gen Zers. Yeah, could go for the Gen Zers. Yeah,
let's keep it 20%ers.
20%. Well, 20%.
Mine are called the Bulldogs, apparently.
Yeah, that's a great thing, man. 20. You could have the Bulldogs, but no, the 20%ers, because 20% of the subscribers literally watch to the end of the video. Yeah. Everybody else tunes out. So just to anybody watching, the content stays the same. Everything's as normal. So thank you so much for watching. To anyone that wants the extra content, become a member, because we've got some great stuff going on, and we'll be doing live shows just for you. We'll be doing live Q&As just for you. But back to this. The 15th worst manager in the Premier League is Ruben Amorim.
Ooh, I've got Vitor Pereira from Wolves.
How can Vitor Pereira be worse than Ruben Amorim, though? How can he be?
Pereira's done a good job at Wolves, and he's done a good job to keep them up. I think if you speak to Wolves fans, though, they have a bit of a different opinion. He's quite a streaky manager. They'll go on a little run, get the points on the board. But the thing you've got to remember is last season, you know,
they stayed up last season. That is worth its weight. It was amazing.
And that was hard, wasn't it? I mean, it was the easiest season we've ever had to stay up.
They looked like they could go, though. the circumstances surrounding Wolves at various points really did look like they could go.
Yeah,
They didn't get sucked into it. Not there was never any real genuine jeopardy about their place in the Premier League, and that is impressive considering.
No, is it that impressive though? Actually, is it? It was so easy to stay up last year. The other three teams were so poor. They had the likes of Cunha in there and Aït-Nouri, who've got moves to Manchester United and Manchester City. All right, at the back, that they could have done with a lot more investment. I'm a bit worried about Wolves this season because I just think that ownership, it's not looking too good, and they've lost some really important players, like I've just said. So it's a test of his mettle, this, I think, Vitor Pereira. They had some big performances, and like you said, you know, they managed to get out of trouble. But I just think if you chat to a few Wolves fans, they're not totally happy with him. They're not totally happy with him. Bit too streaky, not that convinced by some of the games and the style of play. So that's the only reason why he's down there. He did a good job last season.
I don't have any Wolves fans.
Sorry, you have Amorim below him then?
I thought Vitor Pereira did really well last year, and maybe I'm misjudging this. And if you've sought the counsel of Wolves fans, if you know, like the feeling at Molineux is the most important thing here. I'm giving my opinion from the outside looking in. I don't know any Wolves fans to bounce this off. If you do, that's very valid to this. But from my perspective, looking at Wolves, they didn't go down last year. I think Vitor Pereira did incredibly well to keep them up. I think that they were delicately placed, but he found some big results. And I think that he did incredibly well.
He loves a pint as well. He loves spoons, doesn't he?
Yeah, doesn't he? Didn't he buy all the fans at an away game a pint
as
well?
Yeah, and he goes to spoons out after every win and all that.
And if you then combine that, so why have I said Amorim? I mean, that season that they had is unforgivable. I feel like he could change this. He could have an impact this season. It could work for him, this three at the back, his system, his players, his opportunity. There is no way that this time next year, when we talk about the worst managers and work the way through to the best, he could elevate. And if Manchester United end up in the Champions League next year, maybe they win a trophy this year, we will have to rethink this. But as things stand today, he oversaw one of the worst results, in my opinion, that I've ever seen from the great Manchester United, losing a European final. You know, sometimes we don't acknowledge it. I feel like some things happen in European finals, and they are so symbolic and so big. When Chelsea beat Arsenal in a European final in Baku, massive, not discussed enough. Tottenham beat Man United. Postecoglou.
It was the worst final I've ever seen as well.
Postecoglou beat him in a final.
Yeah,
it could be lower.
It's bad. And do you know what? He's only one place above for me. He's in 14th.
So you've got him in 14th.
Ruben Amorim.
So I've got Vitor Pereira in 14th. I've got 15th Amorim, 14th Pereira.
Do you know the thing about Amorim as well that I just keep finding is Manchester United fans will go on about, I like Amorim, I like him, like his honesty. Yeah, really like his honesty. And I think I think he is the man to take us up. All I hear from him is just complaining. He's an absolute misery guts, isn't he? You know, this is the worst Man United side in history.
Well, he'll be talking himself out of a job, won't he?
We're going to suffer. You know, these aren't my players. And then he gets to the end of the season, and he does a big speech on the pitch at Old Trafford and says, "The good times are coming. Don't worry about it. The good times are coming. Stay with us." Once again, gets applauded, despite the fact that he's presided over an utterly useless season as Manchester United manager, culminating in that loss you've just talked about in a European final. And then, as we approach these games coming up at the start of this season, he then decides to bring out the word suffer again and talks about the fact that when he was going to games last season, all he would dread is losing once again. And I don't know, like, okay, he's being honest about the situation. Okay, it's a massive mess at Manchester United. But I just think there'd be other managers who weren't so stuck on their philosophy and were able to come in with this squad. Fine. The players aren't great, I get that. But there have been managers that have gone into worse squads and taken them up the Premier League table and not finished 15th.
No, of course. And losing to Tottenham in the way that they did was just unforgivable. And that wasn't the only unforgivable result. Some of the performances, the run that they went on, like, it was Amorim's job to arrest that decline, and he didn't. And I know that he is a system-based manager, and I know that the system, with regard to the way that he sees football, takes precedent over anything. But ultimately, his responsibility was to get results. Yeah. And he needed to be more pragmatic. He needed to find a way to get results. And that sort of dogmatic, stubborn approach from him, I wasn't impressed by it. I'm reserving judgment because I felt like he was the right appointment when they went and got him. But if he doesn't have a good first third of the season,
does he last
might
past
not,
Christmas for you?
Not if it's more of the same. Like
do you know what was weird?
If Mbeumo and Cunha start playing well, and this bomb squad that they've got, and he's decided that he needs to get rid of
as well.
Sesko leading the line, and whatever else, right? Say it all goes to plan. Fair play to him. But if it doesn't,
they're back at square one again.
They're back to square one, yeah.
And once again, they've got a young manager in who said, "I want to play my way. Let's bring in these players." And then he goes.
And that bomb squad that he wanted to get rid of, they've still got 4 of them at the club. They got Rashford out, right, which is good for their money. They got wages off the books and all that. But like Garnacho, yeah, he might come to Chelsea, but he's still there. Is Sancho still there? So there's a lot to be done at Manchester United, and time will tell. In 14th, I've got Pereira, so we've kind of covered that. 13th, who have you got in 13th?
I've got Marco Silva in 13th.
I've got Fabian Hürzeler.
Have you really? Okay. Yeah, why have you gone for Hürzeler then, 13th?
I think he's a good manager. I think he's a good manager for Brighton.
I thought Brighton did all right last season.
Yeah.
Just missed out on Europe.
I mean, I can't think of a better manager for... I think he's a good manager at a club that are going to do good.
They had a lot of injury problems last year, Brighton, as well.
They've done something weird. Have you seen what they've done this summer? So, they've obviously lost João Pedro. I thought...
Yeah, I've seen
You've seen the signings?
Yeah.
The 2 Greek kids?
Yeah.
And they're young, and they were expensive.
35 million for an 18-year-old? That's a lot. I mean, but it's Brighton, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'll be amazing.
They're both Greek. One arrived from Germany, and one, I think, arrived from Olympiacos.
Is it Karalampos? Is that his name?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I was very surprised by that.
That is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for an 18-year-old.
But, mate, it's Brighton, isn't it?
It's going to work.
It'll be great. It'll be great, won't he?
Yeah,
it'll be an absolute gem, and it will be fine. And
but if it's not, I probably agree with you, right? But if it's not, they could be in trouble.
Yeah.
They are relying on this system of theirs working. And, I think Tony Bloom is a genius. Do you hear him talking? Do you hear him? He's very, very, very much on the front foot, talking about buying Hearts.
Hearts, yeah. Saw this.
Talking about making them, I think he already thinks they're the second best club in Scotland and whatever else. So,
God, that could be interesting. That could be a bit of a shake-up for Scottish football as well. So, yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah,
but I've gone Hürzeler there.
Yeah, I think with a couple of Brighton fans, there's a bit of hangover from De Zerbi, and I don't think they're completely overwhelmed by Hürzeler yet.
No,
but eventually you could get there. You've got to remember, mate. I mean, he's only just older than me. He's a lot younger than you.
It's irrelevant though. Basically, you have to be judged on he's a Premier League manager.
Good enough, you're old enough.
But I think, look, Brighton will be fine. Hürzeler will be fine. There's just nothing.
Where'd they finish, do you think?
Somewhere between 9 and 14.
Yeah, no, I reckon top 10. Top 10 just.
Yeah.
Maybe a push for Europe. But
yeah.
They'll be all right. It always works for them, mate. Fine. It always works.
Who have you got in 12th?
I have got Fabian Hürzeler in 12th. So just above Marco Silva.
Yeah, so I've got Silva much... Well, he's coming up, but I haven't got Silva yet.
Okay.
I've got, here, in 12th, Nuno Espírito Santo.
In 12th?
Yeah.
Have you really?
I think he had an amazing season, but I think they kind of capitulated.
12th in the league? I thought he did an amazing job last season.
He did a good job. He did a really good job. It should have been more, shouldn't it?
Brilliant job with Wolves. I just think Spurs...
Brilliant job with Wolves that went stale. Tottenham went terrible. That
was a completely wrong fit, though, and a bad appointment. Nuno to Spurs. Really bad appointment. He won Manager of the Month, I see, at Spurs, by the way.
Three games.
But the job he did
City, didn't they?
with Forest was outstandingly good. All right, it tailed off, but come on. If we'd sat at the start of the season and said Forest will finish 7th, you'd have laughed at me.
No, absolutely right.
You'd have laughed at me.
Expectations through the season change.
They do change, but for Forest to have made it to European football, by the way, by hook or by crook, playing in the Europa League next season as well, it's an achievement.
Do you rate Nuno Espírito Santo particularly highly then?
I just really like that he's got a very clear style of play. He's
quite a one-dimensional manager.
Yeah, recruited well. I just like the way that Forest set up. He's not perfect. There were certain games last season that lost them, in that European charge. And Brentford at home, and there were just a few games where
we beat them on the last day of the season.
Where they could be worked out. And that's my only criticism of him, really, is
one-dimensional
as a manager. But at the same time, pulled off some huge results.
They did pull off some huge results, but I also think like Chris Wood had the season of his life. Gibbs White was a revelation. Callum Hudson-Odoi had a really good... it's like I think that Ryan Yates is an excellent player. The centre-half, they signed Milenkovic, came in and... It was like a BTEC version of the brilliant Leicester story. It just went well. They had the best keeper in the league.
It reminded me of when Newcastle came fourth, actually.
I don't think that happens again. I think they have a bad season this year.
Do you really? Do you not think it works? I think keeping Gibbs White is massive for them. Massive.
Is this fair? If Forest do well again, I'm wrong. If Forest do really well again, I am completely wrong. But if I'm correct, and Forest do have an average season, and by average I mean below 9th, they finished below 9th. That kind of thing. Then I think I'm right about where I rank Espírito Santo.
What about though? Because the fact that they're in Europe as well. So what if they came, I don't know, 10th, or they have a good run in Europa League?
I'm not too interested in runs. Win it. I don't celebrate runs.
Could they win it? I mean,
they could win it.
Let's be honest. Like Spurs came 17th last season.
They could win it.
They could win that, mate.
But there's something that there is a very... Anybody that watched me speak about Tottenham winning European silverware will know how highly I rate European silverware. It's massive. I was never sneery towards Tottenham. I said it was amazing. I said it was better than Arsenal season. I said everything that Tottenham fans wanted to hear and what they felt about it. But now the competition isn't even running. I think we do need to acknowledge quite how stacked it is in the favour of English clubs and quite how lacking it is in quality.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you.
It isn't quite the tournament. So could Forest win it? Absolutely.
They definitely could.
In the way that I think Palace could win the Conference League. But because of the money sloshing around the Premier League, I feel like every single European trophy should...
Mate, the more I think about it, you could argue that it should be Forest's priority next season. Is winning that tournament. It should.
Yeah, I agree.
In a way, don't bin off the league. No. But go all out. Go all out. The European nights at the City Ground... I know it's not the top tier competition. I know it's not the Champions League again, but their pedigree, within European football is incredible. Of course, we all know about the days with Brian Clough and winning 2 European Cups. But go all out to win that competition because you can, and it gets you into the Champions League. So you don't need to worry about where you finish in the league.
And they might well do that. They might well do it. Who have you got in 11th?
I have got Mr. David Moyes in 11.
Oh, I've got him so much higher.
Have you?
Yeah.
Scariest post-match interview I've ever done, David Moyes.
I've got him so much higher.
By the way, have you really? How high up?
Was he intense with you,
mate? It's his eyes, mate. He just stares right through you, mate.
Yeah. Because the man that he is really, he doesn't suffer fools gladly. No. He's ready to headbutt you, really.
Yeah, 100%. I've asked him something before. It was something about West Ham potentially finishing the top 4, and he just went, "Can you see that again, please?" And I literally, and the worst thing was I was so new at the time, I genuinely thought he hadn't heard me. So I went, I was just asking about you guys, not finishing in the top 4. And he was like, yeah, I thought you said that. And I honestly, brown pants, mate.
Yeah, he's I think he's a force, Moyes. We'll come on to talk Moyes. In 11,
what, have you got him higher then?
Much higher. Much higher.
Have you? Who have you got?
I've got Marco Silva.
You've got Marco Silva. So I had him 13.
I think he's a really good manager. I feel like Marco Silva is the next manager to get the big opportunity. He needs one more good season with Fulham, which there's no doubt in my mind he will have. And then when the Tottenham job comes up and the West Ham job comes up or the Chelsea job comes up, maybe not Chelsea, but that proper serious job, serious club. I think if our prediction is correct and Graham Potter ends up leaving, if Fulham are sitting in the top 6, there's certainly a chance where Fulham end up having to relinquish their manager to West Ham United.
Do you think he'd make that move, Silva? Do you think he'd make that move?
Yeah, of course he would. It's a bad time to go into West Ham, but you can't.
That's the reason I said it. It's not a question in West Ham as a club. They're a huge club, of course.
No, they're the worst run club in the country.
But stepping in with that squad as well. I mean, and also when you look at what he's got there at Fulham, he's got a really nice squad. Usually most of them...
No, but he's an ambitious man. He had the Everton job.
I keep thinking you're right as well, because I feel like it was him and Frank kept being talked about as the two that potentially take that Tottenham job. I do think they made the right call going for Frank.
Yeah.
Because I just think he's a bit more adaptable as a manager.
I probably think they went for the right one, but I equally could see, if Daniel Levy had decided to put all his eggs in the Marco Silva basket, I wouldn't have thought it was a wild shout at all. I think he's a really good manager, and I believe he will get the next big job. It doesn't matter. Whatever that big job is, who could leave? David Moyes maybe ends up leaving at some point fairly soon. That kind of job, I think, Marco... Oh, no, that's a bad example.
Yeah, well,
that's a bad example.
He's already been there, hasn't he?
That's a bad example. But he's an excellent manager, and ultimately, I feel like he is going to...
He's going to be the next cab off the rank here, is he?
Yeah.
I think Fulham sometimes, like, they'll have an unbelievable first half and be, they could beat anyone in the Premier League, and the second half they'll be the worst team in the Premier League. That's
that's because of the ambition of the club, I think, because they want to be safe. They get to 40 points and they go, okay, calm.
It's difficult, isn't it, with Fulham, because
there's a ceiling.
Even with the players, there's not much pressure on you.
No,
is there
no,
at all?
No.
So yeah,
but I've gone
good manager.
In 10th, I've gone. This is where I've gone. Thomas Frank.
I've got Thomas Frank in 10th as well.
Thomas Frank in 10th.
I've got Thomas
which
Frank
is weird, right? Because if you said to me, and maybe people watching this now will go, "What?" If you said to me, "Where does Thomas Frank fit in this conversation?" If I went 10th, people would go, "No." But then as soon as you start naming the other managers that you think are better, then it's quite easy to put him 10th.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you said it out of the blue without actually working it out who's above him, it would sound like it's me being snide towards Tottenham. But it really isn't. There's just 9 other managers that I believe are better.
When you look at the rest of our list and you hear the rest of our list, you'll understand why he's 10th. You just will. I really rate Frank, by the way.
I think he's a very good manager.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Premier League is now littered with excellent managers. Like it really is. And that's why Thomas Frank is 10th. But it's weird, isn't it? Because Tottenham are obviously not the 10th biggest club in the country. No. Long way from it. A lot bigger than that. And yet they've got a manager that we're saying has, like according to us, neither of us has said Iraola, for example. We both believe that Bournemouth have a better manager than Tottenham. That's weird.
Yeah, but I mean, that's because of his CV so far, isn't it? And he's done a brilliant job with Brentford. So good. Thomas Frank.
But this is it. This is
not
the test,
not
isn't
just
it?
kept them up, but established them in the Premier League.
They're a proper
whilst
Premier League
losing his best players.
Yeah.
He's done a magnificent job there. But this is it. You're right. This is the test. This is how he climbs up our rankings. He's taking over a job like Tottenham, where there's so much more scrutiny on everything. He's going to be fighting on all fronts in all sorts of different competitions, expectation for trophies. So this is how he climbs up the list. But right now, I just feel that there are managers with better CVs than him so far in their careers. We haven't even seen him really in that Tottenham role at all, apart from in this little period in the summer.
Yeah, it's going to be. This is his opportunity, and he just has to make it count. I believe he will. I think he's a good manager, and I think that maybe we end up evolving this. If he has Tottenham competing for the Champions League spots or whatever. But at the moment, I've got Thomas Frank in 10th.
Yeah.
In 9th, I've got Iraola.
I've got Iraola in 9th. I've got Iraola. I think, because when we talk about Marco Silva, and we were saying it was him or Frank going for Spurs. I think the other name was Iraola, and actually, I think if I was going to pick out of those three, I'd have gone for Iraola. I just think he's so impressive tactically. Bournemouth were excellent. For a lot of last season. All right, tailed off a bit at the end, I understand that. But it's also just some of the results that stood out. They beat Arsenal, they beat Manchester City, they absolutely battered Newcastle at Newcastle when they were in the form of their lives as well. I just think he's got the number of so many of the best Premier League managers. That's why I rate him so highly.
I thought Iraola could have easily ended up at Tottenham. And I think that he could easily still end up at West Ham.
Are you surprised they didn't push for him more?
But there was wasn't there talk of Iraola going to there was talk of him going to some really big club, like big European clubs as well. I think that's the kind of manager that he is, and I almost feel like if you are
as in he ends up at Barcelona, for instance.
Yeah.
Something
I don't
like
think it's
from
a wild.
Bournemouth.
Yeah, I do think so now, because just being in the Premier League, your stock is so elevated now because of the money sloshing about the Premier League. So I think Iraola is brilliant. And I think it's ludicrous that Bournemouth have a better manager than West Ham United. Absolutely ludicrous.
It is. It is interesting, like you say, that we have picked him ahead of Thomas Frank.
It was Real Madrid. That's where it was. Before Xabi Alonso went into Real Madrid, that's what I remember reading. And this is the craziest thing of the lot. It made complete sense to me. Yeah. The Bournemouth manager going to Real Madrid, and I was like, yeah.
Well, mate, I mean, their centre-back's just come there.
I know.
So,
but Iraola, of the managers at clubs, lower clubs, I think he's the best. I think he's better than better than anybody down there. I think he's
well, actually, I say that. Maybe there's one.
I've just seen.
Maybe there's one.
I've who's my next actually?
Yeah, just quickly. Do you know what I love about Iraola as well? Is he never moans that much. He moans a bit about VAR, but there were so many managers. Ange Postecoglou is an example where they were going, "Oh, I've just got so many injuries. Oh, that's why we can't play well."
He's not interested, is he?
Bournemouth had an unbelievable list of injuries. And then they went on one of their best runs last season.
He's just a geezer. Just a wicked
just
manager.
Good, isn't he? It's just good.
Just above him, and this is where the power of the FA Cup comes in, I've gone Oliver Glasner.
Okay, yeah. So I've got Nuno in at 8, who we've discussed. Well, I just had him higher because I was so impressed with last season. Okay. In fact, do you know what? I'm questioning now if I'd have Iraola ahead of Nuno. Because I don't even
think this is a conversation. With all due respect, I just think this is the beauty of football. It's opinions, right? But I see Iraola is so much better than Nuno Espírito Santo. Nuno Espírito Santo, it was a great system in a great moment. It was like a great, it worked, and he deserves a lot of credit for that.
But it has to be built on next season.
Iraola is like genius, like. Iraola, it's so clever, it's so easy on the eye, elevates players to a ridiculous level.
Yeah.
I just don't think Espírito Santo is part of that at all.
Funny though, isn't it? Because Forest beat Bournemouth. 5-0. 5-0.
Yeah.
So he's a better manager.
No, but of course, because that's almost down to the system. Like, look, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I think you're wrong. I disagree with you. No, it's not. It doesn't mean that you're factually wrong though. It just doesn't chime with my opinion.
Yeah.
I see Iraola. Like, I wouldn't be anti Iraola getting the Chelsea job.
No, of course you
wouldn't. I would be so anti Nuno Espírito Santo getting the Chelsea job. Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Okay.
Would you? Okay. What about you? If Eddie Howe ended up leaving, would you be heartbroken if Iraola got the job?
No.
Would you be heartbroken?
In fact, do you know what? He'd probably be my choice.
Yeah.
He'd probably be my choice.
Which means that you've put Nuno Espírito Santo too high, doesn't it?
Mate? What have I
made
done?
A pig's ear of this.
It's a disaster.
No, but you can amend.
You can bounce back, and I might be right as well.
You might
by
be
the end
right.
of next season.
You might
be just laugh about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 7. Who you got? Number 7.
So I've got Glasner in 8.
Okay.
I've got Glasner in 8. In 7 now I've got David Moyes, and I came really close here because just to tell you, in 6 I've got Eddie Howe, and my Moyes Howe. Yeah.
Okay.
And Moyes Howe, I've basically cut and paste and swapped these two around.
Are you joking?
No, I think David. Mate, I feel like David Moyes gets so
you've done
this
on purpose, mate.
Hang on, I've said that Newcastle have the 6th best manager in the league.
Mate.
6th.
The job that Eddie Howe's done is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that David Moyes. David Moyes, in terms of what he has done in management, is far more impressive than what Eddie Howe's done.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
I think David Moyes is class.
Explain why. Seen West Ham in the Champions League, have you?
No, but I've seen them win silverware.
Yeah, have you seen Newcastle win silverware? Yes, you have.
First time since 1980. Yeah, but it's different, isn't it? They haven't had the backing of the PIF.
They won the conference.
They haven't had the backing of the PIF.
Newcastle haven't spent that much money, really.
No, but players such as Tonali would have came in. Players such as Alexander Isak came in. Players such as Botman came in. Like that West Ham team that won European silverware. I think David Moyes was like, I understand to a degree why West Ham fans wanted him out, right? Because he succeeded, and it was a big
I think the race was run, wasn't it?
The race was run. But in terms of like where he should rank in this conversation, ranking managers, I'm sorry, he's just. I have him above Iraola, and you know how highly I rank Iraola.
Yeah.
It's David Moyes. I feel like there is like almost a legendary status to him.
He's done a very good job at Everton as well. Very good job at Everton.
Yeah.
But
he gets Everton. He gets the club.
Just reflect on that. We've just massively bigged up Iraola, but you're having Moyes ahead of him.
When Iraola retires,
is that because of the longevity of Moyes?
Yeah, you did. You get. I massively have respect for that. I massively have respect for anybody that can do it in what must be one of the most cutthroat businesses ever.
So you'd be happy if Chelsea got Moyes then?
No, I wouldn't. But I think you could have easily argued that David Moyes, at some point in his career, was good enough to get the Chelsea job.
Oh, because it went well at Man United.
It didn't go well, but he got it. He
Yeah,
got the
and it
Man
went
United.
badly.
He got the Man United job when they were champions.
And they came 7th.
Yeah, but it shows you the stock. It shows you what he was doing. It shows you how he was rated.
Great. Graham Potter got the Chelsea job. That didn't go well for him, did it?
No,
And
but
now he's floundering at West Ham.
I have ultimate respect, and I extend this courtesy to the players as well. You know, look, you know how much I love, I don't know, Frank Lampard, how highly I rate even Gerrard. You know, when people talk to me, and I'll tell you one, I always rate really highly, and I feel like particularly on YouTube, this player doesn't get anywhere near the respect he deserves. Ryan Giggs, right? The geezer won 13 leagues.
The longevity is ridiculous.
13 leagues. I'm just like, and people go, oh yeah, but Perez was better. I'm just like, what are you on about? Like, he won 13 leagues, you moron. David Moyes has been at the top of the game for not far off 2 decades, right? That is brilliant.
No, he's a decent manager, mate. And I'm not arguing with that.
I'm not saying he's the best. I'm saying he's a 7th.
7th best, though. So, just above some of the names we've got below that, I'm not quite sure. But I'm not saying he's not a good manager.
The only one, now we're talking about it, Iraola today is probably a better manager than David Moyes today.
No, he is. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's a better manager.
But I feel like, out of respect, I'm putting Moyes higher and
Okay.
I'm sticking to it.
Okay, well, fair enough.
I've
got Glasner.
I've
got Glasner in 7.
Glasner
who we haven't spoken about yet.
I had Glasner in 8.
I really rate Glasner.
Yeah.
I really rate Glasner. I
I
like
think
him.
he must be looking around at what's gone on at Crystal Palace and just think, what is going on?
I know. But you've got to expect that if you're in charge of
No,
Palace.
I think they haven't got to expect it when he did. I think you've got to expect it.
Sorry,
if
you're talking
don't-
about everything that's gone on with the European...
No. I think that's a distraction that he doesn't need. You know, I think what should have happened off the back of winning that cup is that they really backed him financially, and they really backed him financially.
Can they do that though?
Like, what's going to happen now is they're potentially going to lose Eze. They probably want to lose Gahey because they don't want him going into his final year contract. You know, they probably kind of. And I think that off the back of winning a trophy, beating Man City in those circumstances, Glasner deserved more. Glasner deserved, and I think Palace could have been really ambitious and go, right, you only get these moments now and again. We've won a cup. Maybe we obviously didn't expect to. Now what we need to do, because we've won this cup, is do something amazing.
Do you think Glasner expected that though? He surely would. He would have known this was coming. He would have.
It's
He would
been
have known.
so bad.
Like,
But
with all
it's
due
been so
respect,
bad. They haven't signed. It's been so bad.
Yeah.
This summer for them, and it's going to get worse.
It could get a lot worse. Actually.
And it's going to get worse.
Yeah,
But
'cause
he is
I
an
feel like
excellent.
Eze and
He's the
Glasner
kind of
both.
manager. Another one that big clubs, big.
Again, he goes to Chelsea. Are you upset?
No,
He goes to Newcastle. I'm not upset at all.
no, but he's capable. Like he could easily be the Bayern Munich manager one day. You know, like he's a proper manager.
Do you know what?
geezer.
The other thing I'm really gutted. We've obviously talked about it a lot in terms of Crystal Palace, and at least they are in some sort of Europe, right? But the thing I'm gutted about is we talked about it with Forest earlier. That is a man who has won the Europa League as well. You know, and actually, I don't know how much of a sway it would have had, but dropping into that competition might have led some of those players we've just mentioned to go, do you know what? Maybe not then. Do you know what I mean? Because they would have known that they've got a guy who's capable. He's just won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
He's capable of going far in those competitions.
Yeah.
Again, I just think, especially as a knockout football kind of manager, brilliant. And also, the kind of football that they can play, the way he's developed some of those players, Adam Morton.
Yeah.
What a talent he is. They at times are actually they can be a joy to watch Palace under him.
Yeah.
He's a really good
manager. Top 6 now. I've gone Eddie Howe 6.
Yeah, I've got on Enzo Maresca 6.
Yeah.
So we're in.
I don't hate it. I think you're wrong now, simply because of what's happened.
Mate, you can't have Eddie Howe in 6, mate. I can't believe that.
I think it's
genuinely can't
I think
believe
it's just about fair enough. I mean,
I thought you rated him higher than that.
I do. I rate him really highly, but I just also think that Enzo Maresca deserves
why
so
is
much
he
credit.
6th though?
6th is high.
I don't think it's high enough for Howe. I don't think it's high enough for Howe in terms of the job.
Basically, the managers that are above him beyond Enzo Maresca are now not incomparable to everyone. We're now going into like elite of the elite. I've got Enzo Maresca above primarily because of what happened in the States. Like the dismantling of Paris Saint-Germain. The embarrassing victory that Chelsea put in that final. Winning silverware in New York City. Embarrassing Luis Enrique in the way that we did. Off the back of qualifying for the Champions League, finishing 4th in the league, and winning that silverware in Poland.
Are you kind of over the whole... Because obviously there was that point mid-season, wasn't there, when a lot of the Chelsea fans
I'm not
were
over it. I'm not. I worry that it could resurrect But I also think that, when it was going wrong, I really hammered Maresca. I said, this is out of order.
Yeah.
This isn't acceptable. You need to potentially pay with your job.
And you were right.
But equally, if when we're in a glut like that and it's going so wrong, if I'm ready to say this bloke is a disgrace, when it's going right and he's winning silverware in New York City, Cole Palmer's having a selfie with the President of the United States because of the brilliance of Maresca, you kind of go, it's only fair and just that I give him the credit that he deserves here. So I think that Maresca, do you know what? Maresca, Howe, Emery, Arteta,
they're interchangeable.
I kind of see them all as I kind of see them all as one almost. I feel like it's almost down to what's been happening most recently. Like I rate Eddie Howe so highly, and if we were having this conversation when Chelsea were in that run and Newcastle won silverware, beating Arsenal home and away in a semi, and Liverpool, we would have said Howe.
Yeah.
But I think that these are the managers that are all kind of interchangeable. Like, how much better, if at all, is Mikel Arteta to Eddie Howe? How much better, if at all, is Mikel Arteta to Unai Emery? Like, there's whatever is in it. However, if you think Emery's better, if I think Arteta's better, both of us would agree there's a Rizla paper in it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So I don't.
Because I'm fuming about the fact you've put Howe 6th, but you're
you
right.
probably only put him 5th.
I've got him 3rd.
You got him 3rd through Bayer, so you can't have him 3rd.
You can have him 3rd.
So who have you got him above? Not Emery.
I've got him above Emery.
You can't.
Why?
You just can't.
Why?
Because Emery is a geezer. Serial European trophy winner.
Right, yeah.
You can't. You just can't.
Europa League.
Do you know the other thing?
Name 3 other managers who won the Europa League.
No. Do you know the other thing with, like, he's done really well at Villa. Think about where they were when Gerrard was there. The other thing is,
yeah, but that's exactly what Eddie Howe's done. I never understand this. Never understand this.
Back it up with all the European success that Emery has had.
Fine.
That's the difference.
Fine, but Eddie Howe has done a similar, if not better, job since they've both taken over their respective clubs. You can't argue with that. Top 4 twice and a trophy. What's Emery done?
Yeah, I think Emery. I know that these are really small margins, but remember they didn't qualify for the Champions League last season on goal difference. And think about what happened at Old Trafford in that final day of the season.
Fine, just what happened. They could have won a different game. They could have not drawn at home to, I don't know, Bournemouth or I think Everton they drew at home to as well, and eventually Newcastle got the job done.
When I've looked this up, right, and so I'm sorry to come at you with stats. You're looking at he's won it 4 times. He's won the Europa League 4 times. He's won the Europa League 3 times. He's won. Oh no, yeah, you're right, because he won it with Villarreal as well.
Yeah.
So he won it with Sevilla, retained it 3 years running, mate. He retained it 3 years running. He also has won it with Villarreal when they beat Man United, didn't they?
Yeah.
In Gdansk.
Yeah.
And
fair play to him.
He also
it's
won.
Great. It's
he
great
also won.
CV,
he also won the league at Paris Saint-Germain.
All right, fine.
Like they're not the same. They're just not.
He won the league with Paris Saint-Germain. Oh, come on, mate. Come on. I could win the league with Paris Saint-Germain.
That's not true though. Pochettino went there one year and didn't win it, did he? Do you remember Yilmaz and Lille?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
No, I don't. I'm amazed that you think that I'm being harsh on Eddie Howe by saying that Unai Emery is better than him.
I'm just fuming with you, mate.
Because of the Bulldog thing.
Yeah. No, but okay. All right, fine. Again, interchangeable. Fine, but I just think sometimes people overplay massively the job that Emery has done compared to Eddie Howe when they've essentially done the same job, and if not, Howe's done a better job. I really don't get it.
You don't get it, but all due respect, and I don't want this to sound patronising, but you don't get it because you're a Newcastle fan and you like.
No, I don't agree with that.
Serious. Unai Emery and Eddie Howe aren't interchangeable. They aren't comparable, really. Eddie Howe's doing a remarkable job at Newcastle. He deserves a lot of praise for it. But Unai Emery is a legend. Retaining a European trophy 3 years on a spin with the same club. He's mental.
Spent a lot of money though, Villa, and they've got top 4 once.
No, you're wrong here. You're like. I'm not saying anything wild here. Unai Emery is so good. Unai Emery, in this conversation, right?
Why haven't they come top 4 again?
Unai Emery is closer to Slot and Guardiola in his status than he is Maresca and Howe and whoever. Unai Emery is probably in a league of his own. He's in a purgatory of his own. the top two, and you might go, the top one is in a league of his own. The second one is in a league of his own. I think the third is... People might want to argue that Emery, Arteta, Howe are all part of the same thing, but I just don't...
Do you know what?
I just don't see it that way.
He was the man I was going to bring up. Where would you rank Emery compared to Arteta then? And do you have...
Arteta is better for Arsenal. Arteta is a better Arsenal manager than Emery.
Yeah.
But Emery overall is a better manager. If and probably when, I believe when, Arteta wins a league, Arteta might go on and win a European Cup. He might go on and win multiple trophies. Then we can talk. But Emery can't be discussed, man. Emery's not part of this. Maresca, Emery, but he can dust us off, all of us. How? Maresca, Arteta. He is a serial European trophy winner. And until you become that, you're not in this conversation. I think it's Emery third.
All right, I know, and we've had that chat.
Right.
But do you think that his time at Villa is slightly overhyped? No. People go on like you just have there, like he's this utter genius, this kind of Pep Guardiola 2.0. He's the manager that should always have stayed at Arsenal.
No,
he's done a good job. Has it been that good? Do you know what I mean?
I think it has. So what we're going to do, right? We're going to recap here, 3rd to 5th, just so we know exactly what we are doing, right? Enzo Maresca. So in 6th, I've got Eddie Howe. In 5th, I've got Enzo Maresca. In 4th, I've got Mikel Arteta. In 3rd, I've got Unai Emery.
Okay, I've got Enzo Maresca 6th. I've got Mikel Arteta 5th. I've got Unai Emery 4th and Eddie Howe 3rd.
So you've got Arteta above Emery?
I've got Emery above Arteta.
Yeah. Emery above
yeah.
Arteta. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Arteta. He's done a really good job, but it's just the fact he hasn't quite got it over the line yet.
So who have you got? So where have you got Arteta in this?
5th.
So you've got Howe above Arteta?
Yeah.
That feels tricky to me.
Why? He's beat, and also...
you can argue it.
You can look at head-to-head records as well. Howe's beaten Emery on a number of occasions. He's beaten Arteta on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
You know? So I just think, maybe I'm being a bit precious about it and a bit biased. And you might be right about that. But it's not so much as well about me maybe thinking that Emery gets overhyped, because he's a very good manager, like you pointed out. I'm not arguing that. Sometimes think the job Eddie Howe's done gets overlooked with what's usually a very thin squad, with usually some players that have been there since the takeover.
You say overlooked. I think people are aware of how good he is. So in 2nd, you've got...
I have got Arne Slot in 2nd.
So have I.
Yeah.
And he's a genius. He's amazing.
Very good.
But the creme de la creme,
Pep Guardiola, of course. Because he's one of the greatest Premier League managers of all time.
I completely agree.
So he has to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
Went wrong last season, but he has to be number one.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting?
Do you think he's right? Do you think we're right to put? We've done it. Do you think Arne Slot is definitely better than?
Yeah, I do.
He's a genius.
You come in with no signings, win the Premier League. That is outstanding.
Beating Arsenal, beating Man City.
Listen, and those clubs dropped off. They didn't have the best seasons, but yeah,
I agree.
He has to be above them.
I completely agree.
But it's interesting, isn't it? This season, he's now got his players. He might even have Isak as well. Yeah. So we'll see.
We'll see.
It's funny as well,
mate. We'll have to do this again. Maybe halfway through the season, because it could all change, couldn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Aston Villa getting relegated with Emery and Josh. Yeah.
Mate,
Keith Andrews winning the league.
I never knew that I was so passionate about Unai Emery until you slandered him, and then I went mad. Mate, it was an honour. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed, mate.
You haven't got a YouTube channel. I can't shout your YouTube channel out, can I?
You have, yeah. What about my Instagram?
I can shout your Instagram out. Right, follow the Bulldog on Instagram.
At the Bulldog.
Right, I will put his link in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really does help us out. Please click subscribe. And we both eagerly anticipate seeing what you have to say in the comments section below. In a bit.